Hey guys, Chris here with Bushcraft Survival and Primitive Skills Mickey Wilson. I apologize about the wind. I've been kind of waiting to see if it dies down today, but I keep getting gusts, so I'm just going to go with it. I'll try to talk loud. So I'm going to talk to you guys about traditional archery today. And so you're going to need a target, and I'm going to show you a real easy target you can build for under $5. And this target, I've had one last me 18 years until the dogs got a hold of it. They'll outlast any target you'll buy by years, as long as you store it indoors. And it's very simple. Just get a gunny sack. Back up a little bit. Just get a gunny sack, fill it full of plastic. Any plastic will work. My favorite are Walmart bags. What these do when you shoot at this target, and some of you guys that have bought foam targets, you might know the struggle sometimes of pulling your arrows out. So when you shoot at a target like this, the energy transfer from your arrow heats up the plastic, and it'll actually grab your arrow and stop it. This will stop crossbow bolts. This, however, will not stop broadheads. A broadhead will cut a clean enough path through that your arrow will fly through. But after you shoot into the bag, you can walk up and pull your arrow out really easy with just 2 fingers. I love these things. I always make up about 8 or 10 of these, and I'll take them out somewhere and just set them up in a big circle and shoot from one bag to the next bag, and that way you're never having to walk back and forth. But these are great targets, so I'm going to set this over here. Okay, so the gear you'll need, you actually don't need any gear. This is a bracer. I shoot off my hand, so I like these. This is a finger glove. This is how I like to shoot. I also like using finger tabs. And all you do with these is you stick your thumb through it. Don't use them all the time. Stick your thumb through it like this. Thumb rings will work. When you're starting out, you might slap your arm with the string a lot, so you probably want some kind of arm bracer. If you don't have any of this, you can just wear a long sleeve shirt, and a normal glove will work too, or just don't use them. Eventually you'll shoot enough that you won't slap your arm as often, and you won't need something like this. So, alright, next you're going to have to string that bow. Now you can, and this is the proper way, is to use a bow stringer. So I'll use that on this bow for you and show you how to use a bow stringer. But I'm going to also show you a real handy way to string a bow. You can string a bow anywhere you want with. Oh, and one thing, try not to get your tips down in the ground. Try to keep your bow from getting down in the ground. It grinds away your tips over time. It can rub on your string. It's just better if you can keep this from hitting the ground. And also, when you store your bow, don't store it standing up in a corner or something. You'll warp your limbs a little bit. You need to store your bow like this. It needs to sit sideways somehow. So on a bowstringer, you get one end of that hooked on there. You stuff the tip in that end. And actually, I already did it wrong because I don't use a bowstringer very much. First, slide this end through. Then get this end on. You want to take this end here, slide it over your limb like that. Put your foot down. Make sure you get this here around that end, because when you let down on this, if you don't, it'll bam, it'll pop back up that limb. And lightly let it off and make sure you're good. And you got a strong bow ready to go. Now I'll show you how I string my bows. And you just do the reverse with your stringer to unstring them. So what I do is I'll get one end on there, hook it up here, throw this leg over, put it in your hand brace right there in the middle. That's how I string mine. Now when you get to, so if you notice these bows have nice flat limbs on them. This is what I shoot now. I shoot horse bows. And there's not really a place to put your leg here. So you got to be careful when stringing these. They'll like to twist on you a little bit. But you do it the same way. You see that, how it's wanting to roll? So you're going to have to make sure you're grabbing it really good. You don't want that to twist on you. And now I'll show you the difference. So most people shoot bows with an arrow rest on, or an arrow shelf. Your arrows are more accurate this way, or they fly more true. However, if you get the correct spine for your bow, you don't need to worry about any of that. And I like shooting off my hand because for me, I'm a better shot this way. I feel the arrow better. It's sliding off my hand here. It's just a more primitive way, and for me, I'm more in tune with my bow and my shots using one of these than using something a little more modern. This would be the same if you were going to use a traditional Native American horse bow or a longbow or something. But you can get longbows with shelves carved in them too. So, as far as your grip on your bow, what I want you guys to do is when you figure out where your hand's going to go, especially if you're using one of these bows, it's real simple to know where your hand goes. But get everything set and ready. Just open this hand up. Open that hand up. You don't want to grab this bow I don't shoot with my hand open, but my fingers are not grabbing the bow. They're just relaxed on them. And the reason for that, you'll see a lot of people, especially in, say, competition shooting, and you'll see where when they shoot their bow and they fire, they let their bow fall forward. That's the best way to do it. However, when you're actually using it in a hunting situation, the least amount of movement possible is best, especially when bow hunting, because you're going to get up there close to that game. So if you can keep that bow from going forward without gripping the crap out of it, that's what you want to do, because that could allow you to get a second shot if you miss, or even a third shot if you miss. I know from personal experience. So the less movement you can do, the better. So that brings me into your stances. Well, first let's do your grips up here. So you can, normally if you're a right-hander, your arrow will go on the left side of the bow. Now, I shoot ambidextrous. That's also a reason I shoot these, because I am left eye dominant and I am right-handed. So I've been learning to shoot both ways. I'm actually a better shot shooting left-handed than I am shooting right-handed, but I've shot so many years right-handed that I'm more comfortable shooting right-handed. But it's good to practice both if you're able to. I recommend that, highly recommend that. But on your fingers, so you can grab it split finger. That's how I shoot. You can put them all underneath if you want. You can pinch it if you want. The cool thing about archery is there's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's all a personal preference on the archer, on what's comfortable to them and how they shoot. So you just need to get out there and shoot and find what's comfortable to you, what positions and everything. And that goes to show, when you're drawing back, some people draw here to under their chin. I draw to right here in my mouth, corner of my mouth. It's just a personal preference. It's whatever works for you. And I will say, don't ever lock this elbow, ever. Keep that thing slightly bent. Always slightly bent. Okay, now on your stances. So if you go watch a video on archery anywhere else, this is what you'll see is the proper stance, something like this. That's fine, that's a good way to shoot. Don't just practice that stance. Practice the kneeling stance. Shooting this way, all the way this way. Flip your knees around, kick a leg out. Do the same thing, all around. Shoot back behind you, turn around backwards, shoot this way. If you're standing, do the same thing, all the way around. Do it kneeling like this. Shoot every position that you can think of. Get uncomfortable. Throw both legs out in front of you. Shoot this way. When you're out there hunting, no shot is the same, ever. I've had shots where I was basically busted and I knew that this doe was going to bring a muley back thinking I was a coyote. So I was trying to get up behind this rock and I get in this position like this and I look up and they're staring at me. So I'm balancing on one foot and I just slowly bringing my bow up to shoot, shaking. But just practice every position you can, especially the hard ones. So these cross-body shots. This is the cross-body, and then here you got your open. This one's the hardest one here. Practice that all the time. All of them. Just get uncomfortable and shoot. And do it every time you do it. It will make you a much better shot when it counts than if you're always practicing the exact same every time. Now, this is kind of a controversial thing, So when you're aiming at your target, you see a lot of people sit here and hold this, and they're sitting here trying to figure out, you know, where they want to shoot at. I want you to practice this. This is the best way to do it, in my opinion, but some people will argue this point. So look at your target first and already be aiming before you've even got your bow set or anything ready. Already be aiming at your target, so that when you're ready to shoot, all you got to do is draw back and release. So you're not sitting here holding it, holding it, holding it, holding it before you release. You're already aiming right now. I'm already aiming. That's a better way to do it. Because when you're sitting here holding this back, your aim's getting worse every second that you hold that bow back in traditional archery. With a compound bow, you get to a certain point and you'll have anywhere from 60 to 90% let off, to where you're only holding maybe 8 to 12 pounds back. But you know, say this bow here or this bow here, when you're at full draw here, you're holding 65, 70 pounds back. And the longer you hold it, the harder it is to hold it back. So if you can get to where you just are already aiming, you pull back and shoot. Oh, and never dry fire a bow. If you're going to shoot this thing, always have an arrow on it, unless you want to buy a new bow or hurt yourself. Okay, so some practice tips. And these are not really your conventional practice tips. I already showed you stances and things to get uncomfortable to practice. So get rid of the idea of practicing at certain yardages in your head. Forget about doing that. It's a crutch and it will hurt you in the long run. Just forget about it. So you guys are my target, right? I've already shot, came up, pulled my arrows. Just walk back randomly. And then when you get to the end, shoot from the end, coming back up. Or switch it up. You know, throw them all out, walk back up and shoot from here, or stagger it between each one. It gets you your natural aim, your traditional aiming sight. It gets that to where, you know, you're not, oh, well, this is, oh, is this 30 yards? Or do I need to aim here? Or, you know, it gets rid of that. If you do this all the time, you'll get to where it doesn't matter what range that target's at. All you got to do is pull back and shoot, because your brain's already figured it out. It's your brain that you need to train with your eyes and what you see. But here's another tip I want to tell you guys. So when you're going to shoot at that target, you've already been aiming at it before you've decided where you're going to shoot. You're already aiming at it. As soon as you draw the bow back, close your eyes and shoot. So be aiming at your target there. I'm going to turn to where maybe you guys can see my eyes shut. And shoot. You're going to miss more. But you're going to train your brain to where you're not thinking about your aim. It's just there. Now, the sun goes down. Well, I can't practice at night. Not true. If you've got a big barn, go to one end of that barn light a candle, do the same thing where you stagger your arrows down, and try to put that candle out in the dark. If you don't have a barn, get some kind of cheap flashlight or something and put a light out there in front of your target bag and shoot at that light. That will train your instinctive aiming quicker and better than anything else is shooting at night at a single dot, because it gets rid of all distractions. Everything around you, it gets rid of it. You can't see what you're doing, so you have to feel what you're doing. And if you want to be a great archer, you need to feel what you're doing. You need to forget all the technicalities and all the rules and such that everybody says about archery, because it's different for each archer. That's what I love about archery. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you practice it and be one with what you're doing. Feel what you're doing. So night shooting is one of the best ways you can train your instinctive aim. And it's just to simply shoot at a light at night. Get rid of all the distractions. Just you feel the bow, you're feeling the arrow. Everything is by feel instead of sight, besides what you're looking at. And that's the biggest practice tip, is to get out there after the sun goes down and do some shooting. So I think that's about all I have, guys. I'm sorry if I wasn't able to comment on any of you guys. I've got you on the iPad too, so the sound might be a little funny. It might sound like an echo. But I think that's about all I have, guys. Well, you know, one thing, you want to make sure that your arrows aren't too short. So when you draw back, wherever you're anchoring, you don't want this anywhere close to your hand or to where it's behind your fingers or something, because that's going to hurt. I've seen pictures of people that have sent arrows through their hands by shooting too short of arrows because they were trying to up the speed. Don't worry about feet per second or trying to get your bow shooting faster. Work on your stalking skills. Work on you being able to get closer to that animal without the animal knowing you're there. You're going to fail a lot. I fail all the time still. But every failed hunt, I love them, because I made mistakes and I get to learn from those mistakes. And so my next hunt, as long as I paid attention in those failed hunts, you know, hopefully I don't make the same mistake the next time. And just do it repeatedly. You'll just get better and better and better. Archery, unless you pick up a compound bow, and I shot compound bows for years, I phased out of them. They were ruining my instinctive aiming abilities. So I sold all my compound bows. I strictly shoot traditional archery now. The way I started and the way I love. You know, I can go out and shoot a compound bow for 30 minutes, have fun for 30 minutes, but you know, about 30 minutes I'm done, so let's do something else. I go out and shoot one of these for what I think is 30 minutes, and 3 hours later I'm getting yelled at to come into the house. So for me, this is a lot better way to shoot. It's a lot more practice to get good at. Compound bow, you can have any Joe Blow get taught how to shoot a compound bow in 5 minutes and pick it up and be on target. They're great, but if you want to be an even better archer, go to traditional. And if you want to have more fun while you're doing it, go to traditional. And also check your arrows before you shoot. Make sure there's no chunks taken out, there's no breaks in them. You know, bend them, make sure they're not going to creak or crack anywhere, that there's a fracture or something. Check them, make sure they're pretty straight. Because if you got a cracked arrow and you shoot it, depending on the poundage of your bow, that arrow breaks somewhere up here, it's going to shoot in your hand. It hurts. Also, you know, if you're shooting off your hand like this, the reason I finally went to a bracer here is I've got years and years of scars right here from shooting directly off my hand, because these aren't always as smooth as every time. So just practice, guys. I think that's all I got for you. Now in this video, I am showing you one of the drills or ways I came up with practicing years ago. And so if you guys like this drill, this is how I do this drill. So you shoot from all different ranges, all different positions, facing away from the target, facing towards the target, facing to the side from the target, different angles from the target. Do not look at the target until right as you draw your bow back. Then you pick out your target where you're gonna try to shoot at on your target bag or whatever you're using. And that's when you aim at your target, you draw your bow back and fire. And then if you hit the target, you get to get up, move to a new position, and repeat. If you miss the target, you don't move, stay in the same position, same spot, everything, and shoot another arrow or a third arrow, and you keep shooting till you hit the target or the target that you're aiming at. And then once you hit it, you're allowed to get up and move to another position and do it again. So that's how this drill works. Also, I got a tip for you guys. Never shoot at the same spot on your target more than twice, for two reasons. One, you'll keep from ruining fletchings and have to repair them all the time. And two, same thing on your arrows. You'll keep from taking chunks out of arrows or breaking arrows and having to replace arrows, because arrows are not very cheap. And I know some of you are curious, so there's a clanging sound that you'll hear in the video. Now what that is either the arrow is going through part of my target bag into the backstop and making a clanging sound because my support is a metal frame, or I'm shooting at a far enough angle from the side that the arrow's actually just barely tapping the pipe of the frame, or I completely miss and I just nail the frame, because I broke 2 arrows, I think, shooting these videos. So if you're curious, that's what the clang sound is.